Yeah. It's almost game time, and I've been prepping for a minute. We send it.
I wish that was real so bad. Super Mario Football, or Mario Gridiron, or Super Mario Super Tech Mobile, I don't know. It's a concept I've wanted to see from Nintendo for ages. And up until now, I never really thought there was an actual possibility of it happening. It's still not super likely, but with the international expansion of the NFL, the current state of Mario sports games, and Nintendo, as well as the sheer potential this idea has, it seems like the perfect time to take a chance with a sports game like this. So, the biggest argument against this whole idea is that American football is only really popular in America, which may have been true a long time ago, but in 2024, that's flat out not true. Yes, it's the biggest and most watched sport in America, but it's still fairly popular worldwide, and it's growing like crazy. The NFL's been pushing games overseas for years now, with games in London since 2007, and more recently in Frankfurt and Munich, Germany, Mexico City, and next season, for the first time ever, down in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And for as much as the Taylor Swift thing is annoying to NFL fans, it has increased the international appeal of the league, which is why they're forcing it so much. But if it can be used to help justify a Mario football game, I am a lot more fine with it. When we take a look at the biggest revenue-generating markets for Nintendo, we can clearly see the United States is an overwhelming favorite, followed somewhat closely by Europe and Japan, before completely dropping off. But Japan is a top 3 region for them, and they don't care about football, right? Well, that's not exactly true either. They may not care as much about the NFL, but the sport of gridiron football is still kinda popular over there. It's no baseball or soccer, but Japan's X League has been around since 1971, and it's bigger than any football league outside of North America, with average player salaries not far off from the Canadian Football League. It's not the juggernaut it is over here, but it's respectable, and a Mario version of it would sell over there. If you still don't think so, maybe the fact that Nintendo wanted to try this concept decades ago might change your mind. Back in the early days of the GameCube, there was a Mario Gridiron game titled Mario Kickoff Football being developed by none other than Retro Studios. That's a big name, but at the time, the company didn't have the track record they do now, and they especially didn't have any experience making sports games. So after Nintendo locked down Madden and NFL 2K entries for the GameCube, they shut down the project entirely. So yeah, a Mario football game was in the works before a Mario soccer game was, which is pretty funny to me. If anything, that proves they understand how popular football is. And mind you, that was 20 years ago. It's only gotten bigger. Sure, it's still primarily a US-based audience, but as I said, that's by far their biggest market, and having Mario on the cover alone will persuade people worldwide to buy it. There's a quality associated with that name, and I think even non-football enjoyers would be curious to check it out. I mean, I don't watch or play soccer, but I was there day one to play Mario Strikers Battle League. Probably shouldn't have been, it's kinda trash, but that's not the point. If they give it the attention and effort it deserves, it'll be a fun-ass game, and people like to play fun-ass games. They can't half-ass it and do what EA does. That only works because they have a monopoly on NFL licensed football games, but if they adapt the sport as well as they did initially for strikers, golf, baseball, and tennis, incorporating tons of power-ups, obscure characters, fun, bright arenas, cool minigames, and maybe an online that isn't rancid, it's gonna sell. Also, right now really is the perfect time to release an experimental game like this. The install base for the Switch is Nintendo's second highest ever behind the DS, and odds are it's gonna catch it soon. Mario Football isn't exactly a system seller, but as a software for a console people already have, it's an enticing purchase, and I'd say way more so than a game like Princess Peach Showtime. Not that that game looks bad, but it's certainly a more ambitious game for them to make. And if they're willing to do that, football doesn't sound all that far-fetched. And since the Switch already has Mario Golf, tennis, and soccer games, they're covered on pretty much all their Mario sports fronts, except for baseball. And that might be the biggest thing in the way. Nintendo's based in Japan, and their most beloved sport there is baseball. So considering it's pretty popular in the States as well, you could probably make a better case for a Mario baseball game than a Mario football game. But taking a look at past Mario sports games and their sales numbers, we can clearly see that baseball games don't perform all that well. I mean, they're all on the list of best-selling games, they're Mario games, but on the only system to have a new game for each series, Strikers sold the most, followed by golf, tennis, and lastly, baseball, which barely hit the million mark in total sales. Star Fox Assault sold more units. Yeah. Now, on the Wii, Super Sluggers did outsell Mario Tennis, but they packaged that game as a port with new play control and gave this one a new name to make it seem like a brand new game, despite basically being the same thing as Superstar Baseball. Even still, 3 Mario and Sonics outsold it, as well as Strikers Charged, so I don't think it makes much sense to bring back. However, if they end up doing another sports compilation game, it would fit perfectly alongside basketball, volleyball, and of course, American football. It's really unlikely they go this route again, since Mario Sports Superstars severely underperformed. But that's due to its lackluster sports selection and coming out when the 3DS was already dead. Sports Mix had a much better lineup, and sold a decent 1.98 million units, so if they brought back basketball, hockey, and volleyball from that game and swapped out dodgeball for Gridiron, I mean that's a loaded roster. But putting all those games in one is gonna hinder the complexity of each game, which lends itself okay to the other three, but doesn't mess with football at all, which is another big argument against it. It's a challenging sport to understand, and there's more layers to it than any other sport in my opinion. With play calling, tons of unique positions, and a laundry list of penalties and fouls, the game would be a lot slower moving than other Mario sports games. I assume rosters would work similarly to Mario Baseball, where there's pretty much every character imaginable and a select few team captains, and that'd work fine, but play calling would still be really complicated. I think the best way to do it would be to have a simulation type mode where you have access to full playbooks and custom plays, and an arcade mode where you're given a small selection of run and pass plays, as well as simple man, zone, and blitz schemes to pick from on defense, kinda like how Tecmo Bowl does it. That way, people who don't know the game can still make big plays and have fun while they learn the ropes, and more knowledgeable players have a higher skill ceiling to play with. It would play a lot like Madden, because, well, they're the same sport. But Mario sports games always stand out from those simulators because of their unique gameplay gimmicks and power-ups, which this game will have plenty of. Imagine Tanuki leaves that let players fly into the sky to make insane catches, a shell that makes any pass uninterceptable, a mushroom that boosts speed by 1.5, a feather that lets you hurdle any player, a warp pipe that teleports you from one side of the field to the other, or bombs that clear paths for run plays. There is so much potential with these typical Mario power-ups. I'm just rattling off ideas here, but there's so many awesome implications they could have on gameplay. They could even take that a step farther and give specific arenas different platforming elements and enemies that make them harder to navigate. Bowser's could have fireballs popping up all over the place, Peach's could have hedges and shit blocking sections of the field like Peach Gardens, Mario's could have death pits everywhere that you have to jump over, and Yoshi's could have bushes with berries that give you a power boost after you grab 3 or something. Each captain could have a signature ability that only they have, sort of like an X Factor, and there could be an actual story mode with an open world full of different football stadiums and collectibles. Pretty much what Mario Superstar Baseball had. I'd take a football version of that any day of the week. Both Tennis Aces and Star Rush have solid story modes, so it should be a safe assumption we get something. But then again, they cheaped out for Battle League, so who knows. Honestly, if the game ever gets announced, I'm confident they'll go all out, because the concept alone won't drive sales outside of the US. Although here I know for a fact it'll be a bestseller. I need your takes though. Will this game ever come into fruition? Leave your opinions and any ideas for the game down in the comments. Also, we're posting Mario content on this channel every Saturday at 12 PM Eastern, so if you enjoy content like this, hit subscribe and turn that bell on. We're getting really close to 100,000 subscribers, and with your help we can get there even faster. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to watch another one, check out this video, where I test your Mario knowledge and show you one thing from every Mario game that you probably didn't know. I'll see you over there.